Jack of all trades, master of none. You've all probably heard of the saying, right? But there's a crucial part we usually miss out at the end. Jack of all trades, master of none, though oftentimes better than master of one. This added ending flips the whole saying on its head and shows that being good at a lot of things isn't a weakness, but rather it can be a massive advantage. Now, I want you to close your eyes and remember the time you were first asked this question. What do you want to be when you grow up? Think about what you said. Okay, got it? Now open your eyes. I imagine many of you said vet, footballer, ballerina, astronaut. Now, for me, my answer was happy. I was 4 at the time, so I wasn't sure why adults used to laugh about it. But as I grew older, I realized they were asking about a career, a specific job, an occupation like a doctor or a hairdresser or a baker. At around age 8, I began responding with suitable careers, like most people do. But then I started to wonder, why do I feel like I have to pick one? At school, I'm that student who loves science, philosophy, music, sport, and more, whether I'm learning about animals or space, the economy, or Mandarin. I love learning about it all. Last month, I was considering my A-level subjects, and I thought, wow, I can't believe I won't be studying chemistry anymore, or English, or geography. Basically, I can't believe I'll be studying anything less than everything. It's like being asked to pick one type of food to eat for dinner for the rest of your life. How could you decide? It's almost impossible. That's the feeling I get when I'm expected to choose an undergraduate degree that will set the course for the rest of my life. Honestly, at 16, I'm still figuring out what I even want for dinner today. In our society, though, we often look up to those who are the best at a specific role, or in other words, people who are highly specialized. This made me wonder, is it better to be good at many things or outstanding in just one? Now, it is all subjective, of course, and not as black and white as that, but I became very interested in this idea of being a generalist, someone who can connect dots across disciplines. From the media, we've been taught to specialize early, master one thing, and stay on that path. But is that really the way forward in an age where AI can already outperform us in so many of those skills? Right now, teenagers like me are anxious about their futures, comparing themselves to those who seem to have everything figured out, or a secure career amidst the chaos of today's employment options. We're told to prepare for jobs that might not exist, or risk being left behind. But what's missing from this conversation is the undeniable truth. The problem isn't students being unprepared, it's the system measuring the wrong things. We've built an education system that values certainty in an age defined by change. Think about it. When you enter secondary school, you begin by learning around 16 subjects. 16. By the time you leave, that's reduced to 3. Rather shocking, isn't it? School's obsession with specialization and graduating from a top university with a degree is making young people feel boxed in, burnt out, and unprepared for the very future we're trying to survive. With job displacement caused by AI, it's not just qualifications that will make us relevant, but rather by being able to switch lanes, stay curious, and make connections. Because in a world that changes this fast, specializing too early can make you vulnerable. And it's not just the system shaping us. It's the fear we inherit. What do you think are the main worries young people have? Let me tell you some. Whether they can secure a job, whether their parents can pay bills, and whether they can afford their own home. We're absorbing our parents' anxieties. 2 of my friends' parents have been laid off from work recently, and we hear their conversations about jobs not existing in 5 years, causing us to worry. We wonder if we'll ever be able to buy a home, because the cost of a house in the UK is already more than 7 times the average salary, according to ONS, so significantly less affordable than it was in the 90s. Personally, I'm an optimistic sort of person, and I always look on the bright side of life. What's wrong if I can't buy a home? I can always rent in different parts of the world. So what if I don't get a job? I've always wanted my own business, and AI makes it easier to create a product. The problem is, most of us are chasing the same career path. At my school, pretty much half of my year group are preparing to take engineering or medicine degrees, not because they like it, but because it feels safe. Everyone's assuming that's the future, where all the money lies. It sort of is for now, but who knows what the next decade will look like. I've seen friends drop hobbies to study for good grades. I've witnessed the year 13s pick computer science as their degree choice, when they'd rather study languages than panic over uni applications because the acceptance rate is 5%. At this rate, by 2030, will most of us be working in tech jobs, building AI tools, whilst no one is left with the skills to question their ethics? We don't really enjoy the same privileges as the generations before us, where the career path was easier. Our path feels more like a maze, with AI reshaping it almost every day. Everywhere we look, we're told to make it early. You probably see this a lot on social media. 14-year-old launches revolutionary startup, raises angel funding, and is now a millionaire, so has dropped out of school. My reaction now is, let me guess. Is it another one of those cutting short their childhood? I'm pretty sure toddlers brought up using AI tools will be next. But beneath this is something serious. We're being taught that success means specializing fast rather than exploring widely, and that's exactly backwards in a world changing this fast. Honestly, right now, it seems to me like every high school student prepping to succeed in our world of AI is building a website, starting a podcast, vibe coding an app, strength training in a gym, and of course scoring straight 9s at GCSE. Academics are a given now. And more. It feels like we're all running in circles, terrified of being left behind. Yet it somehow still isn't enough for those of us seeking to join a top university or to get a job at a top firm. Universities and employers don't seem to value generalists. Many job ads list narrow boxes. Our education system is preparing young people for a world that no longer exists, where it still rewards narrow expertise in a world that now values adaptability, creativity, and connection. The system rewards people who fit neatly into boxes, but not necessarily those who connect across them. It's as if society sees a career as a single destination rather than a continuous expansion, and that's why so many of us feel scattered. For years, my curiosity about everything felt like a weakness. I felt scattered because I couldn't pick one subject to study in depth. Like I was a window on Google Chrome with 72 different tabs open, and no one can figure out which tab the mystery music is coming from. When I came across some research on generalism, it was like someone handed me a map in a dark forest. That was when I realized maybe not picking one box isn't a weakness at all. Maybe those tabs weren't actually distractions. Maybe they were the start of something powerful. In fact, in a world shaped by AI, it might be the strength that matters most. As an analogy, you can think of a generalist like an orchestra conductor. They don't play a single instrument, but understand how all the instruments work together to create harmony. If they lose a few musicians, they know how to adapt the score, and that's extremely useful in a world of change, especially if our jobs involve managing multiple AI agents now. Specializing is a bit like digging parallel trenches, where no one bothered to look up to see the next one. Specialists dig deeper, but rarely make connections or see the bigger picture. And sadly, with AI and automation, many narrowly specialized skills like bookkeeping, data entry, and bricklaying are at highest risk of becoming obsolete, if not already. On a larger scale, imagine a country whose workforce specializes in just one sector. A single, sudden, global disruption could completely destroy it. Take the COVID pandemic. Remember that surreal experience? Feels like a lifetime ago, right? Borders closed, supply chains broke, toilet paper vanished from every shelf, and suddenly, relying on a single sector or one trading partner just wasn't enough. Studies show that generalists often outperform specialists, particularly in complex and unpredictable environments, just like the AI era we're in today. They excel in ambiguity because they combine knowledge from different domains, experiment without fear, and learn from failures, which is often why they succeed in the long run. The World Economic Forum highlights the same. Problem solving, AI literacy, and interpersonal skills, these are all general abilities that can be applied to pretty much any domain. Most leaders agree and emphasize that the future belongs to generalists. For example, I remember watching Amjad, the CEO of Replit, talk about the crucial skills for this AI age, and entrepreneur Stephen Bartlett on his podcast interviews, including the one with hedge fund manager Ray Dalio. They both discussed the necessity of generalism in today's world. History shows that innovation doesn't emerge from isolated depth alone. It emerges from intersections. Depth still matters, but having a range of skills and making connections across sectors is like a survival skill in the AI age. Being a generalist might be the best way to prepare for the future, with the ability to zoom in and specialize where needed. Now, I know this might all sound idealistic. Be curious, explore widely, but it's not just me saying it. Some of the most iconic innovators weren't specialists at all. They were people who crossed boundaries and explored. They were people who didn't narrow who they were, but expanded what they could become. Let me take you through a few of them. Steve Jobs. Before he developed the Mac, he wandered into a calligraphy class, completely unrelated, and yet he later said that understanding spacing and typography, that was what made Apple different. Not coding, not circuitry, but calligraphy. One curious detour shaped an industry. Or go back a few centuries to Leonardo da Vinci, the original I like too many things student. Anatomy, engineering, painting, flight, you name it, he tried it. But that range wasn't a distraction. His genius lived in the lines he drew between disciplines. Marie Curie as well, one of the greatest scientists in history, didn't stick to one lane. She crossed boundaries between physics, chemistry, and hands-on engineering, to uncover something no one even knew existed. Radioactivity was developed by someone thinking beyond. And then there's Roger Federer, the tennis legend. But he didn't grow up doing tennis drills 24/7. He skateboarded, he swam, he took dance lessons, he built agility and creativity, skills that later reshaped the sport. And when an injury forced him to retire, he didn't crumble. He stepped straight into investment and entrepreneurship using the same adaptability he'd been developing his whole life. Today, in the age of AI, the people who thrive aren't the ones who locked themselves into a single identity at 16. They're the ones who can blend knowledge and connect dots no one else can see. Across every field, the pattern repeats. Generalists spot the connections specialists miss. Generalists don't fit one box, they connect all of them. And that's the power of being a generalist. I encourage you to stay curious, to make connections, and to stack your skills, not despite AI, but because of it. If AI can master a specialized skill more than a human can, then our strength becomes everything it can't do, seeing patterns no algorithm is trained to notice. We urgently need to spotlight generalism, not as an alternative path or backup plan, but as a superpower. And we as young people deserve to hear that we do belong in the future, not by narrowing who we are, but by expanding what we can become. So to the kids out there, the next time someone asks you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Don't panic or run away or feel like you have to pick one box. Just smile and say, everything that curiosity lets me become.